All right, YouTube. Repo Man 64. All right. I made a video. I do not know how to make them live yet. So what I'm going to ask whoever is in here to send me a link to Discord so that I can watch. I'll be looking in my room for when that starts. And we still have 0 views, so we'll see what happens. Yep, nobody's here yet. I don't know if I can talk in here or if I can find it myself. All right. Can somebody send me a link to Discord so that I can see the chat whenever you get a chance? I have made a video. There's 47 people in here now, and it's sure to grow. Explaining that Rosh Hashanah is in March. And I want to make sure I clarify it properly in that in Exodus 12, God set up the head of the year. He said, this now is the head of your year. Previous to that, it was in September, in Noah's time. Feast of Trumpets did not exist in Noah's time. What existed, hold on, I got something on my forehead. There, I got it. Feast of Trumpets did not exist prior to the flood. What did exist, where Feast of Trumpets currently is, was Rosh Hashanah. It was the head of the year. That's why when we count from Noah's flood, from the head of the year, we wind up in October, on October the 31st. So, I want to clarify that. I don't know if I made it super clear in the video that I'm about to play. I'm waiting for more to show up, and I'm waiting for somebody to send me a link to my own YouTube so that I can see it, because I can never find it in YouTube when I go there to look for it. The pumps are all going off. This is great. So I wanted to talk about that. I don't see any comments on the board whatsoever. Whoops. Shouldn't have done that. There we go. I don't know where to... There we go. There's my link. Thank you, Sister Sandy. Appreciate that. All right. Oh, I can hear myself. That's annoying. How do you guys put up with that? All right. Hello, everyone. So before I go to the video, I made the video about an hour ago, and I've been out here for about 30 minutes trying to get the computer up and going. We have to change internet providers because this is terrible. No, the YouTube link was fine. I have it now. I can see the chat room on my phone. I'm going to go back inside where it's not so cold. It's like 55 degrees here. It's just terrible. And I'm going to go back inside and sit back in my recliner and play this as a live. So, hey, Prophetic Watchman. How you doing? Prophetic Watchman 88's in the house, people. So I'm going to show how... I've been waiting for the viewers to pick up a little bit before I go into the video. But in cap, if you will go in and look in, you will find in Exodus 12 where God says, this now is the head of your year. Rosh Hashanah simply means head of the year. Did God change the head of the year from September to March? And the answer is yes, he did. Was it a feast day? No, it wasn't. It was the head of the year. That's what Rosh Hashanah means, head of the year. So when he moves the head of the year, excuse me, sorry, it's cold out here. When he moves the head of the year, he's not moving any feast days. As a matter of fact, there are no feast days set up yet, none of them. He goes on here in Leviticus 23 to set up Feast of Trumpets. He did not move Feast of Trumpets from September to March. However, in Rosh Hashanah, on Rosh Hashanah, you will, let me turn the volume down because that's driving me nuts. It's delayed, so it's hard to. So when he sets up Feast of Trumpets, he sets it up in place of Rosh Hashanah. And he moves Rosh Hashanah first in Exodus, but then later in Leviticus, he sets up all the 7 feast days that we see now. And the feast days are not just for the Jews, these are God's feast days. We shall look at these feast days. So, Rosh Hashanah is not a feast day, but on Rosh Hashanah they will sit still for 2 days. And so that's why we see that God does not change, but he has 6 months in the bank. They repeated those 6 months just when they were getting to September. All right, we're going to change the year. He goes back to March and has to wait to change that year. So that's why we're still in 5783. We will not be in 5784 until March the 17th. That will begin 5784. So hold on a second. We're up to 138. I don't know when I should start. Is anybody, let me go back to the thing. Does anybody have any questions? All right, let me put the glasses back on. 55 degrees. Yeah, it's so cold. But that's Celsius. Teach us, Mike. It's really important. It is super, super important that we understand this. There's so much confusion about it. Rosh Hashanah simply means head of the year. That's all it means. And when God said in Exodus 12, this now is the head of your year, he backed up. They had to repeat that 6 months. He backed up 6 months. So when and all of the verses have to match. All of them have to match. They, in fact, blow trumpets on Rosh Hashanah for 2 days. They blow trumpets. And so that's the confusion. People are like, oh, well, Rosh Hashanah is also in September. No, it's not. It never was. It was previous to the flood. That was Rosh Hashanah. There was never a Feast of Trumpets in September to replace Rosh Hashanah, not until Leviticus 23, when God set up the law. None of the feast days existed prior to the flood. He set them all up after he staged the head of the year as being March, well, I say March the 17th. I think I'm right, but at any rate, it's back in March. Let's see here, 56. They are saying that, and the Jews have been right about everything, haven't they? They haven't been right about anything. So no, it is not 5784. It will not be 5784 until March 17th. And this is why Spinebreaker's correct. When he reads Psalms 124, he sees a rapture event in the Psalms 1. Is it 124? Yeah, 124, because it becomes 5784 on March the 17th. Brenda Waltner says fall. They're not, and that's fine. I'm not going to come on here and argue other channels. Obviously, they've done research, but if you can clearly see it, and I will show that to you in this video, you can clearly see it that God first set up the head of the year, moved Rosh Hashanah, and then he called that day that was Rosh Hashanah Feast of Trumpets. He moved it. Let's see here. Everybody thinks it's April 8th because of this because of the eclipse, and it's not. April the 8th will be the ninth day after Jesus is crucified, 2 days before he sees Thomas in the upper room. Roaster, yeah, they are wrong. It's, I mean, you can read it right there for yourself, as clear as day. The first law that he handed down to Moses before they ever left Egypt, before he ever told them to sacrifice in the 14th day, he said, this is now the head of the year, and then on the 14th day, you're going to sacrifice and put the blood on your door. And on the 15th, you're leaving. It was simple. And then we read in Leviticus 23 where he says, he gives the exact date of where he wants everything to land based on where the head of the year is. So no, Feast of Trumpets was set up after he set up the head of the year. Did you? I got to see that. Did you guys make a video on that, Peter, on Prophetic Watchman 88? Did you guys see something in Haggai 2 about March 17th? Or did you make a post? And like I said in the video, I'm going to show you the video here in a minute once the audience increases. Once the audience increases, I'll show the video, and I explain all of this. And just like, this is exactly like when God did set up the 7 feasts, and they were to take a lamb 4 days early, and that's the same exact 4 days early that Jesus rode in on the donkey. It amazes me that they take Jesus and crucify him on the Passover when they were warned. They even practiced it for a long time, over 1,000 years. They practice this Passover, and they don't put it together. They just don't put it together. And this is the same thing as us. We're trying to find this date, but what's actually happening is we're practicing. We're watching. 153 watching. We're watching and we're practicing, and until the day it happens. And when it does, we won't be caught off guard. We are going to know exactly what's happening. And if you go even further, you will see in Revelation 3:3 how we will know. We will know when this event's going to take place. I cannot. It's 210 years that are missing. I have not worked. I work on a timeline that's based on a year long. I have not worked on. I've watched other people's work on that, and I think they've done a fantastic job. And so they've done all this work looking that this is the year. Well, they'll say 5784, or 5994. They say it changed in September, but I proved it right there in the Bible, as clear as a bell, that it didn't. It will change in March. That is now the head of your year. What did you say? We have it in our last video. Okay, I'm going to go watch that right after watching my live. Let's see. Baby steps to the rapture. Amen. I don't think we are. I think April 8th is literally a warning to the saints. I think the rapture is going to occur way before that. I don't know if it's going to happen. It didn't happen today. We thought it might. The cassette, or the 11:11, the hidden day, or the between 2 points where you see 11 before and 11 after, I think that's what God was pointing at, also happens on the 11th of February. And then of course we have Purim, which lands this year on the 29th, because Purim must land 30 days prior to Passover, which on my timeline never changes. It's always March 30th. When there's so much evidence for that day and not the equinox. Even Enoch said it's the day equalized. They went straight for the equinox, said this is it. They knew when the equinox was, but it is not. There's no day anywhere on the planet where it is 12 hours. And if you do the math from there, then you wind up seeing that Jesus was actually conceived on December the 25th. If you do the math from the equinox, you'll wind up with Jesus being conceived on December the 29th, and then John leaping in the womb on January 4th. It doesn't even fit. It wouldn't make sense. You think it's going to happen on the Super Bowl? Is that the 11th? I've never watched a football game in my life. I've tried to sit through them, but I was outside working on cars and stuff while my brother and my father were inside into the football games. I never got into it. Let's see here. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play the video, and then I'll come back out here after the video, but I'll be live in the chat while it's going on. Now, let me see if I can remember how to do this. Hey, there I am. All right, I'll see you in a moment.
All right, YouTube, Repo Man 64. I tried to do and I don't know how to do it, where you pre-record it, but you play it like it's alive, and then you can be in the chat room, like a live chat during it. I'm not sure how to do it, so. But when are we going home? Anybody? I need somebody to tell me when we're going home. When is this rapture going to happen? Like I said in the last video, they practiced the Passover for over 1,000 years, right? The law came down to Moses. The very first law was, this now is the head of your year. And I will show you how Rosh Hashanah moved from, we know that Rosh Hashanah was on September the 15th. We know that the Feast of Trumpets and Rosh Hashanah were together on that day. We know that because the flood occurred in the second month, the 17th day. But when you do the math from the flood and you count the 150 days, like it says, you will always land on the cross. If you don't start or move Rosh Hashanah back 182 days to March the 17th, March the 17th, the new head of the year, then when you do your count, it won't land there. So in other words, second month, the 17th day could have never have been, what's the second month that we would not, is it Nisan? Hold on, let me look. Let's take a look. Second month down here. IR. It would have been IR the second month. If Moses was not on a different times calendar, on a different calendar than we were, the second month of 17 day would have meant IR 17. But guess what? It didn't. But if you count from the flood, when you go the 150 days, just like the Bible says, if you count from the flood, which this year they said the flood occurred on, where's it at? October 31st. You have to count the 150 days from October the 31st in order to land. And if you go, you come back over here, down there in orange, 150 days from the flood, you land on the cross. So we know that something changed because we have dates in the Bible, very clear, that point us to a different beginning of the year. And Rosh Hashanah simply means head of the year. That's what it means. It doesn't, it's not like Feast of Trumpets. Feast of Trumpets did not move. Feast of Trumpets stayed where it's at. But Rosh Hashanah, head of the year, did move. So where are we at right now, real quick? We're down here. We are, let me put my glasses on because I can't see. We are over here. It is February the 7th today. Shabbat 24, the 11th month and 24th day. Like I said, the Bible will give you dates, very clear dates. And before the flood, you would apply those dates to a calendar where the year starts on the Feast of Trumpets. But after the flood, the very first law that God gave to Moses was, this now is the head of your year. What does that mean? This now is your Rosh Hashanah. He moved the head of the year back 6 months. So, I'm going to show you in here where also the 7th month, first day, is never called the head of the year. But we understood that it was the head of the year. And how did we understand that? Because when you go from the Feast of Trumpets right here, Tishri 1, Nisan, or that was that's the overlay, the 6-month overlay. September the 15th, Tishri 1, when you count to 47 days later, or the 2nd month and 17th day, exactly 47 days later, you land on Halloween. That was the old way of counting. So here we are now. We are in Shabbat 11. This is the passage we see where they are, the horse, the red horse, out amongst the myrtle trees. That's today. What's coming up next? February the 11th. That's up above. I don't have it at the bottom. There's not enough room. February the 11th. This is the 11/11 moment. We're going to call these moments where they match on either side. This is the 11/11 moment between the Festival of Trees and Purim. Purim this year, because it must land 30 days before Passover, and because the Gregorian calendar adds a day for February the 29th, Purim must land on February the 29th. So we're coming up on these days. Moses was born and he died on Adar 7, which is February the 21st. So there's a lot of events that we see in February. So remember, Moses dies just before they go into the Promised Land. What happens? Just, 8 days later would be 7 if it wasn't for the extra day in our calendar this year, the Kaseh, the hidden day of February the 29th. 8 days lands on Purim. So we're in it right now. We're right in the middle of a very high watch period of time. And so we just keep watching. And God's Lounge Down Under did a very good video on Purim. He's a really great guy. He's down there in Australia on the other side of the disc, or whatever you want to call it. And he's over there working on this as well. He's doing math. He's trying to figure it out just like the rest of us. Well, we're all trying to figure this out. We're all working on this together. I get emails, I get texts, I get in Discord. They come into Discord. So much math, and I look at all of it. I don't have time to respond to all of it, but it's great because, like I said a moment ago, they spent all of that time practicing and preparing for the Passover. And what happened when Jesus showed up? They missed it. They finally started telling themselves, I'm guessing, that Jesus is not coming, or that the Messiah is not coming, so this guy couldn't be him. Yeah, he's doing miracles. Yeah, he's doing all these wonderful things, but we're just not going to recognize him. Like, they just ignored God standing right there, God in the flesh. The Word became flesh. Jesus Christ, God Almighty, standing in front of them, and they missed it. And the same thing is happening to us. Is we're finding these dates. Why are we finding these dates? We're getting people excited, getting people to look, getting people to watch, getting people to do math, getting people to look up, getting people to try to pay attention to what's happening. So when it does, there will be no excuse. And I'm going to show you about the 10 virgins, and I'm going to explain to you why neither group, the ones with oil or the ones without oil, have anything to do with the bride. I'm going to show you how they're a different group, and it's clear as a bell. There's just in the passage alone, it's only written in Matthew, and just the passage alone tells you who they are. And I'll get to that right now. All right, this guy does a live. He does 2 to 3 hour lives every day. You can go in there, and he's a prayer warrior. He really does a great job praying. I really enjoy watching this program. Go in to his video here where it says Prayer and Fellowship Anyone. I I don't know how many videos ago that was. I listened to it yesterday, and he brings out all the evidence you'll ever need to prove in a pre-tribulation rapture. He shows that the pre-tribulation rapture goes all the way back to 70 AD, back all the way back to Jesus' time. That this has been going on and that we've known about this, and he completely explains it like nobody's business. Now, in that same video, I was crying. I was laughing so hard. He likes hot sauce. I'm not even kidding you. I listened because I'm working, right? I just have my earbud in and I'm listening and I'm working. Well, I start laughing so loud and people are looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, this guy just took a spoonful of hot sauce, right? A spoonful. Now, I've gone into the vault of the secret broadcast cave and I've gotten some hot sauce. And in unison, to stand with my buddy over there at End Times Talk, I figured I'll get some hot sauce too and try it out live. Now, his hot sauce has some names in it like Ghost and Pepper and Super Hot and all that. But this stuff right here, oh, yeah, this is really hot. I don't think he could handle this hot sauce. Oh. Whoa, dropping stuff. Sweating, that's hot. This hot sauce right here is hotter than anything you've ever eaten. But live online, he eats this, and I'm just dying laughing as he's doing this. And then he does it a second time, so you got to go listen to him do this. Hold on, that's hot. You got to go listen to him do this. I'm not even kidding you. He was praying. I thought he was praying for oxygen. He was praying for somebody who, I got confused. I was laughing so hard. He was actually praying for somebody who was in the hospital who their oxygen levels were low. And I thought he was praying for oxygen because he had eaten this stuff. Hold on. So that was good. That was fantastic. And that was amazing. So you'll never find anything hot like this. I had to go to that big hot sauce store. It's huge, and they have so many different flavors, and I had to go there and get some of this. Louisiana, it's not that hot. I could never do what he did, although that for me is pretty hot. Anyway, let me get back to the video. Oh, by the way, you won't know this now, or by now you will know this. I'm not going to upload this video. I'm going to turn it into a live, so I'm in the chat room with you. I couldn't do it the way I wanted to do it the other day when it showed that I had a live coming out. I didn't know how to cancel that goofy thing. So, but I do know how to upload it to the cloud and play it live on here, which is what I'm going to do after the video. So, that sounds hot. All right, let's get into some evidence. Let's do some Bible study, because that's what we're here for. We're here for Bible study and hot sauce. All right, remember therefore how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast and repent. And of course, repent means what? It means to turn to Jesus. If therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come upon thee as a thief, and thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee. Now, this is super, super clear. If you are watching, you will know. Can we know when the rapture is going to occur? And I'm telling you, we can. I'm telling you, we're going to get some insight, probably not from any of us, but from God himself. And he will tell us why will we know, as opposed to the other 8 billion people on the planet that are not watching. Because we are watching. We are going to know when October 7th happened. We all ran to our computers and said, whoa, what? This is prophesied. This is happening. It's not the Psalms 83 war. It is the Psalms 83 war. We went back and forth, but at the end of the day, it is the cusp of the Psalms 83 war. We are witnessing history being made. And what day did it land on? What day did that just have to land on? October the 7th. Let's go find it on the timeline. It happened on the last day of Tabernacles. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Right on the timeline, exactly as you would expect. As a matter of fact, that night when I went to sleep, I did not expect to find out first thing in the morning that Israel had been invaded. And at first, because they've been attacked so many times, I thought, it's something else. But then it developed into something huge. And look at it. Israel, to their credit, is not going to back down until this is completely wiped out and there is no more danger to them. And I stand behind Israel 110% in that. Don't stop, Netanyahu. You keep going until they're all gone. This is terrible. Okay, war is not pretty. You can highlight all of the bad parts of it, but they won't be invading Israel again. I bet you he wipes them out and they won't be coming in there again. That was a bad idea on their part. And now, because of their bad idea, their people are suffering. I'm terribly sorry about that. And you heard that a lot of people are seeing Jesus, that Jesus is showing up and they're giving their life to Jesus in the Gaza Strip. That's amazing. And that would be why, and that's what the purpose of everything is. The purpose of everything is to recognize. They failed to recognize who Jesus was. They failed to recognize who he was. They crucified him because they failed to recognize who he was. Now, the same thing will happen through the tribulation. There is a great multitude that no man can count that will come out of the great tribulation. They will appear in heaven. Whenever you see verses talking about going to heaven, showing up in heaven, narrow is the way. That's for the bride. Broad is the road that leads to destruction. That is either the tribulation or it's hell. Are they? No, they're saved. They're saved people. That hot sauce really got at me there. Hold on. Let me get back to where we were at. You got to watch that. It's at the... Oh, my goodness. That was so hilarious. All right. Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. Are you a servant of the Lord? I wouldn't call myself a prophet, but I'm a servant. I love the Lord, and I'm dying. I don't want anything. I want to leave this place and see what God has created in heaven. It's going to be amazing. Now, let's get into the 10 virgins for you here. All right? Let's define when the bridegroom showed up, there were 5 virgins with oil and 5 without. He cannot be called a bridegroom unless his bride is with him. His bride is with him. A man on his wedding. There is no wedding for the 5 bridesmaids. They are not getting married to Jesus. All right. You find this only in Matthew 25, the parable of the 10 virgins. You will not find it in Luke because the Luke group is the church. It's the bride. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps. I want you to see all the working that's going on here. The bride, there is no work. We are just going to be taken out of here. These 10 virgins, none of them are the bride. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth. When have you ever heard that we are going to go somewhere to meet Jesus? He's coming here and he's going to take us. Went forth to meet the bridegroom. Again, called a bridegroom. Why? Because he's already with his bride. The 5 of them were wise. They are tribulation saints. They have filled their lamps with oil. They've already filled it. 5 were foolish. They are the Jew. They still don't recognize who Jesus is. They still are not paying attention to who Jesus is. And took no oil with them. Again, remember, the bride's going to heaven, so are the tribulation saints. The tribulation saints are very important. They are a great multitude that no man can count. You don't go to heaven unless you have oil. The oil we have is Jesus. The oil they have is what they gained during the tribulation. 5 of them were wise, 5 were foolish. And they that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them, but the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. Bridegroom tarried. He's tarrying. He's with his bride. They all slumbered and slept. When have you ever heard of the bride sleeping? Not physically sleeping, walking away from what we do. When have you ever heard the bride say, I'm done with this. I'm not going to watch anymore. We can't stop. I literally thought so many times, well, if this date passes, this date coming up passes, I'm done. I don't see anything past that. And then boom, a bigger grenade drops right in my lap. Something huge happens. October 7th happened, for example. I didn't think we were going to make it to October the 7th. I just knew it was September the 15th during the Feast of Trumpets. But guess what? October the 7th happened, telling me, hey, keep watching because I'm not done yet. All right. Then all those virgins arose. All of them arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil, for our lamps have gone out. They have seen the rapture of the bride, but they still didn't believe on Jesus. But half of these did. Half of these believed on Jesus. Therefore, they had oil. But the wise answered, saying, not so, lest there be not enough for us and you. Remember, this rapture is going to occur. It's going to occur instantly. It's going to occur suddenly. It's going to occur before anyone, aside from us, is watching. They will tell you, you cannot know the day or the hour. They are correct. You cannot know the day or the hour. You can. They can't. They will not know the day or the hour. They are correct for them. They will not know. But the wise answer, saying, not so, let there not be enough for us and you, but go rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. See, they've already bought their oil. They've already gone into tribulation. They received the dope. That hot sauce was hottest sauce on the planet. Hottest hot sauce on the planet. Say that 3 times fast. And the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answer, saying, not so, lest there not be enough for us and you, but go rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom, again, already got his wife with him, his bride with him, came, and they were ready, went in with him to the marriage. They didn't go in to marry him. They were the bridegrooms. Not bridegrooms. They were the, what do they call it? They were the wise virgins, I guess you could say, right? And the door was shut. When is the door shut? When does the door shut? We always think about the bride. We only think about the bride. That's, of course, what we think about, but we never think about the tribulation saint. We assume that as soon as we go, the door is shut. The door is not shut when we go. The door is shut after every person is saved from the lake of fire that is going to go to heaven. The door is shut after we see John in heaven asking, who are these? And he says, I don't know, you know. And they say, oh, these are those that came out of great tribulation. They have washed their robes white. They're carrying palm branches. They are a great multitude out of every tribe, every nation, every tongue that no one can count. That's when the door gets shut. The door gets shut after the tribulation saints, the great multitude, shows up in heaven. The door is opened when we go. The world will be stunned. A great multitude will recognize what happened. They will drop to their knees and begin to pray. They will fill their lamps up with oil, but they slumbered and slept while the bridegroom tarried. Up there in 25:5. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. They slumbered and slept. They did not pay attention to us. They cannot pay attention to us. They will not pay attention to us. There are so many different groups coming out with so many harebrained ideas about where we are. The seals are already open. The 1,000-year millennium's almost over. All these crazy ideas that you know is not right. You know it's not right, but they come up with all these ideas because they don't want to conceive, or they know that they are not a part of the group of the bride, so they don't even conceive of the fact that there is a pre-tribulation rapture that is about to occur, and they are going to be left here. But it's not over with. While they slumber and slept, they are going to fill. They're going to drop to their knees when the rapture occurs, and they're going to fill their lamps up with oil. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. It's intimate. When God saves you, it's intimate. We are a part, not just the bride, but the tribulation saints as well. God knows them. They're a different group, but they all go to heaven. They wind up in heaven. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. Who's he talking to? He's talking to these 10 virgins. The bride is already gone. We know. It says it right there in Revelation 3:3. If you don't watch, you won't know. But if you do, you will. It says it right there in Amos 3:7. Amos 3:7. What did that say? I forgot. Let me go back to it. The Lord God will do nothing except he revealeth his secret. This is a huge secret, isn't it? We've been trying to figure it out for quite some time now, especially since the Revelation 12 sign. Another thing, what does the Revelation 12 sign represent? It represents God revealing his secret. He's revealing it slowly. We look through a glass darkly. We can see shadows of things that are coming, but we can't quite figure it out yet. But we're trying. We're trying to figure it out, but we can't quite get to it yet. All right. Who doesn't know when the rapture is going to occur? None of us know yet, but there's going to become something that's going to alert us that this is it, just like October 7th, just like the Revelation 12 said. These signs are going to start to ramp up, and we're going to be like, this is it, this is it, this is it. They won't know. These 10 virgins will not know. The 5 with oil, tribulation saints. The 5 without oil, the foolish ones, the ones who deny Jesus all the way to the end, the Jew. They're not going to heaven. They're going into the millennium. They will see heaven come to them. They are going to see, the Jew will see heaven come to them. The only 2 groups, again, that go to heaven is the bride and the saint. The Jew will stay here, and at the end of the 1,000 years, they will see heaven come to them. You can't be in the presence of God until you're saved by the blood of Christ, period, bar none. You cannot do it. It cannot happen. You cannot be in the presence of God, and that's the point of the blood of Christ. He covers all of our sins. Matthew 7:22. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? These are the 5 virgins with oil. And in thy name cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. It is a eye-opening moment. It is going to be quite the revelation. A church full of people, just like we see in, I think it's Global Rapture Watchers. He puts it at the head of all of his videos. Wish I knew how to do that. He puts that at the head of all of his videos, where the church is half emptied, but there's still half of those people still there. They were in there They were going because it was a place to meet people, a place to do business. They were, they were just there. They believed, but they didn't. They didn't. They weren't dreaming of the moment. There are people who dream about, I want to become a millionaire. I don't dream about such things. I want to go to heaven. That's all I want. I don't want anything else. I don't want $1 million. So that moment when half the church gets raptured, they will know. They will know because you have spent so long telling them, when you see me go, you're going to say that. When you see me, you've said that to so many people. When you see me go, and when they see this event take place, you've given them that mustard seed that they need, where when the devil comes to them and says, yeah, that's it, they're gone, join me, I'll feed you, I'll put $1 million on a card for you, or a chip, or whatever they're going to do. Just follow me, sign your life away to me, because there's no hope for you now. That's the lie that he's going to come with. It's a big lie, just like in the garden. It's a huge lie. You still have a chance. You still have an opportunity. Why? Because it's still the day of salvation. The tribulation saint will show up in heaven, a great multitude that no man can count. How are we going to find these people the second the rapture occurs? How many people have you warned that will drop straight to their knees? All right, let me get back into the pictures. Let's see here. Where are we at? All right. I don't remember this. Marriage of the Lamb. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. It's not washed white, just like John saw. Who are these? Oh, these are those that washed. They had work to do. They had to work. There's work in the tribulation. There is no work for us. We are as Barabbas up there with Pontius Pilate above everyone, and Jesus took Barabbas's place. That is the picture of the bride. The thief on the cross at the last moment was reviling him, spitting on him. Save yourself and get off this cross. That thief was a tribulation saint because he was in tribulation. He was on that cross. And then the other thief that never recognized him is a picture of the 5 virgins with no oil. The thief on the cross that's going through tribulation is a picture of the 5 virgins with oil. At the end, he had oil. He said, today you will be with me in paradise. Paradise is where hell used to be. Paradise used to be located in hell. Jesus went there to lead captivity captive. He would have been lying if he told the thief on the cross, today you'll be with me in paradise, and Jesus went to heaven on that day. Jesus did not go to heaven on that day. He went into Sheol. He went into hell, and he led captivity captive. Okay. And he saith unto me, right, blessed art they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. All right? So I wanted to point out that the bride, now she's called a wife, by the way. She is called a wife, and she has on fine linen. I call it brilliant white robe. Fine linen, not washed white. All right, I didn't highlight anything here. I guess I have to read the whole thing. Luke 14:16. Then said he unto them, a certain man made a great supper and bade. Oh, this is what I was pointing out. So he's calling these people to come to the wedding, right? But they all have excuses, just like the people in the church. These are the tribulation saints. These are the 5 virgins with oil. Once the rapture occurs, they're going to drop straight to their knees. They're going to know what happened because we've been telling them. They didn't think it was true. They were working on that $1 million, but here they are, and now they realize, dang, I messed up. I'm still here, and it is a great multitude. Don't be deceived for a second that it isn't somebody that you know. It is a lot of people. I have told so many people, if you see me go, they all, to ad nauseum, they all know, if you see me go, And when they see this rapture event and I don't show up somewhere, they're going to be like, I heard this. He was right. Let me get into my Bible. Oil. They start getting oil. All right. Let's read this. This is Luke 14:16. Then said unto him, a certain man made a great supper and bade many, and sent his servants at supper time to say to them that were bidden, come, for all things are now ready. And they all with one consent began to make excuse. The first said unto him, I have bought a piece of ground, and I must needs go and see it. I pray thee, have me excused. They are all stuck in the world. They're all stuck in the world. It's like Lot's wife. She is the salt of the earth. She is a tribulation saint. She is not going to hell. Sodom and Gomorrah was a picture of hell. Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed by fire and brimstone. That was a picture of hell. She was rescued out of hell, but her heart was in Sodom and Gomorrah. She turned back. But she's going to heaven. She is a picture of a tribulation saint. I bought a piece of ground, and another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I must go prove them. I pray thee have me excused. And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. Married to the world, right? So that servant came and showed his lord these things. Then the master of the house, being angry, said unto his servant, go out quickly into the streets and lanes of the city, and bring in hither the poor and the maimed and the halt and the blind. And the servant said, Lord, it is done as thou hast commanded, and yet there is room. He's brought the bride. We're nothing special. You can't think for a moment that you're any kind of special. We are nothing special. We are poor. We are maimed. We are halt, which I'm not quite, I have to look up that word, and we are blind. We are broken. We are, there is nothing that we want here in this world. If anybody else were to look at us, they would say, this is the group that God chose? Really? This is the group that God chose as a bride? But God did. And there's still room. So what happens? What happens? There's still room. The door is open. What happens? And the servant said, Lord, it is done as thou hast commanded, yet there is room. And the Lord said unto the servant, go out into the highways and the hedges and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. He wants his house filled, full of people that love him, who are covered by the blood of Christ. For I say unto you that none of those men which were bidden shall taste of my supper. Who was bidden? The Jew was bidden. Who is the bride? We are the poor and the maimed and the halt and the blind. Who are this? The house is not filled yet. He wants to fill the house. Who are these others? He goes out just to anywhere, to all tribes, all nations, all kindred. These people are going to drop to and that's all that, how easy salvation is? Drop to your knees. That's it. That's how easy it is. It's that simple. Drop to your knees and say, Jesus, I don't even know you. I don't know who you are. I don't know anything about you. I keep hearing things about you. All my life I believed you didn't exist, but I'm seeing all these things take place, and all these people can't be crazy. Show me something. Show me something. Show me you, so I can say yes. And just acknowledging, just the acknowledgement is worship. Just recognizing who he is. Can you imagine? I owned a business for a long time. I don't anymore. I work for somebody now. I was on vacation for a week. While I was gone, my business partner hired somebody. I showed up after my week off, and I walked in, and we always kept the second gate closed. And I walked in, and I drove in, got out of my truck, and walked over to the second gate and started closing it. And this employee starts yelling at me. I didn't recognize him. He was hired while I was gone. Now, what reaction do you think I had? You think I told him, shut up, you're fired, get out of here. Do you know who you're talking to? No, I didn't have to. I was the owner. I didn't have to act like anything. All I said was, well, the gate I thought was supposed to be closed. He's like, you don't know what you're talking about. He was yelling at me. I'm like, all right, leave the gate open then. I walked inside, sat behind my desk, and he looked at me. He went over to my partner. He said, who's that guy? He's like, he's the owner. We're partners. He's like, oh, what? I didn't know. I wasn't mad at him. He was doing something that he was told to do by another owner. He was doing the right thing. I was not upset at him, and I didn't punish him in any kind of way. As a matter of fact, I liked the fact that he fought for the company because something the company had told him to do something opposite of what I understood when I left. So it's the same thing. Do you think it's that hard to get back into the good graces of God? The answer is no. It's not that hard. It's a drop to your knees and say, Lord, I don't know you. How are you going to pray and ask for salvation when you don't even know him? I don't know you, Lord. Reveal yourself to me. He's doing it in Gaza. These people are having the same exact dream. Families, houses away, miles away, coming together saying, I just had this crazy dream. It's like, yeah, I had the same dream. How does that happen? But God. All right, let me get back into here. Where was I? Did I read this whole thing? Yes, I did. Okay. I want to point out, and I get some pushback on this, and I want to define the word Rosh Hashanah. I get pushback on the fact that did Rosh Hashanah move? And the answer is yes, of course it did. But the pushback is, did Feast of Trumpets move? No, it did not. Feast of Trumpets did not move. It's still in the 7th month and first day. That is Feast of Trumpets. It is no longer Rosh Hashanah. It has not been Rosh Hashanah since Exodus 12, when God handed down the very first law to Moses. Rosh Hashanah is words in Hebrew, and they mean head of the year. And I'll show this to you. Rosh Hashanah is a Hebrew word, or Rosh is a Hebrew word for head. Ha is the definite article, the, and Shah means year. That's what it means. Rosh Hashanah means head of the year, referring to the Jewish day of New Year. Does that occur in September, or does it occur in March? And the Lord spake unto Moses, this is the passage in Exodus 12, and the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Rosh Hashanah was moved. We know it wasn't Rosh Hashanah pre-flood because we have dates showing the flood occurred in the 2nd month and 17th day, which is what we would know as being the 8th month and 17th day on our timeline. It moved 6 months. Feast of Trumpets. Now let's read Feast of Trumpets very carefully and recognize that Leviticus came after Exodus.
I have no idea what's happening. I could hear the pumps out here, but I can't hear the audio. It's like part of the audio didn't upload. I don't know how to finish the rest of this, honestly. They've decided to turn on all the water in the house. Oh, it's quiet again. Come on, work. Work. I don't even know how far into the video this is. There's still 9 minutes left. All right, well, I don't know what happened. Let me turn on the chat. Wow, you guys have been chatting since I've been standing here. And I'm back. All right, well, does anybody have any questions? My point is that in Exodus 12, God moved Rosh Hashanah. It's not one of the 7 feast days, so it's not like God changed his mind about anything. He set up Feast of Trumpets after he set up the head of the year. Let me turn this down so I don't confuse myself. So he set up Feast of Trumpets in Leviticus after he moved Rosh Hashanah to a different point of the year. We know he moved it because if you count from Feast of Trumpets to the second month, the 17th day, that's when the flood occurred. That was the old timeline. That was something happened during the flood to cause a shift to where spring was no longer in September. It was now in March. So therefore, he moved it so everything would line back up. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it was acting funny, but it always kept coming back. I don't know what happened. I guess it's just not going to play. I wonder if I could enlarge this thing. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I could have done that the whole time. That would have been bigger. But still, it's not going to play. Nope. There we go. So does anybody have any questions about that? It seems like there's a lot of confusion about that. Feast of Trumpets did not move. Rosh Hashanah did. The head of the year. So when they say the last trump, you're talking about March 16th. They blow the trumpets for the new year coming in. They blow them before nightfall on March, or they're supposed to. If they had followed the law, they would have blown the trumpets at nightfall on March the 16th, and March the 17th would be the head of the year. Let's see. My mother used to give us, it's probably not a good thing, but she used to give us, what is that, fluoride drops back in the 70s. It was okay. Made us all crazy, I think. But me, my brother, and my sister have